Welcome to another episode of Easy Sports. And today I'm joined by what is it, Mercer Otzel and cheese
Yeah.
underscore 55. The Jets, what's happening? What's happening, Jets?
Nah,
Nah, easing for
we're,
easing.
we're
And I,
celebrating.
We're celebrating. Cheese is celebrating both internationally and locally. But I wanted us to
Mm.
start locally, since Cheese didn't wear his local jersey, the most important jersey out of them all. Yeah, odds. Let's resume our conversation because we had a bit of conversation.
We started. Yeah,
Yeah, we had
I, I,
started. Yeah.
I, I think for me, as you said, I think it's gonna be difficult to win the league. I think maybe if we can focus on a net bank as well, just to add to the trophy cabinet because of the lack of consistency for us over the season. CAF, I think, is paramount because we
Yeah.
want to be at the next Club World Cup. I
Hmm.
want to be flying somewhere to watch Pirates internationally
Yeah.
play the big guns. So over the next 4 years, I really think that we need to be dominating. And even if we're not maybe winning the league, but we're coming second, we're trying to come first. And CAF, we're going to the semi-finals, we're going to finals, we're playing eventual winners, as you mentioned, of a pyramid. So
Yeah.
this thing of let us be at Pirates' level. You could see Al Ali, Widad, what it
Mm.
actually means. So we need to be at that same level because this is South Africa.
Mm.
There's a team there. There's boys there. And I was speaking to a few Egyptian guys over the winter, and I'm sure a lot of people know this. They said that those guys up there, they only know Mamelodi Sundowns. That
Listen
is
to
that
that.
team. You see, the rest of them are like, we don't know those teams. They don't know any other team but Mamelodi Sundowns. You know,
Mm.
so we need to be on that level as well.
Yeah. And then cheese, winner. I know winner, you wanna win everything.
yeah, no, we definitely need to start winning the league. For me, that's the real, uh, like I always say, it's the real cornerstone of a team season. I think last
Mm,
season when we came second, it was a real reflection of where we are as a club, and it shows that we have the pedigree to compete. All these other tournaments, and I always say, knockout football is knockout football, and you take your chances, you win the games, and
mm, mm,
in those sort of games, it's all about how you're feeling on the day and how they execute. But in the league, you have to
mm,
consistently be there every single day. Your best players must be at the top game, and everyone must be assisting them to be at their best in order for them
mm,
to decide games. So
mm.
Pirates, we need to start developing that. I think I like the base. We have two guys protecting Mbule because we know Mbule is good on the ball. It allows everyone
Yeah.
to push up on the runs, and it allows us to control the game in midfield. And when we're struggling to keep the ball, he'll win us fouls because they can't win the ball off of him. But we still haven't solved, I think, the striking position. I think we're really still lacking in terms of goals from our number nines, and that's always going to be the difference. Because I mean, if Reyners and Shaluli are always scoring and your strikers aren't scoring, that means there's a problem because we have to find goals elsewhere.
Mm.
But yeah,
And Rainers is a problem.
Pirates a big
Rainers
club,
is a
man.
problem.
Pirates a big club. We need to start challenging for the league, and we cannot let these hopes Takopitori continue.
Mm.
Mm,
And I'm with you, cheese. I mean, the reason why I want CAF is because I've never ever seen us or witnessed, Pirates lifted. As much as 95, I was born, but I was only 3 years old in 95.
mm.
So I don't have the memory of actually seeing us lift CAF. And so, yeah, I mean,
But
I'm with you with the league. Yeah,
Remember, there's no Nottingham Forest fan that can say that. But if you walk into the stadium, there's two Champions League trophies there. Villa
yeah,
says the same thing. So as long as I have this star here,
yeah, yeah,
that it's not necessarily my minimum, but the
yeah,
star is there. At the end of the
yeah.
day, I can call myself a champion. Chiefs has a
Yeah.
registered sign above there. They have that registered. That's the only branding they have outside
Yeah,
of the logo.
yeah,
So yeah, man, I think the difficulty, as we've all said, is that the consistency over the season. Like, where are we going to get our goals from? The one thing I like about the MTN 8, the semi-finals is two-legged. It's literally this week, next week, and you can't. I mean, Stellenbosch is always going to be a good side.
Yeah.
Sundowns, you're always going to play Sundowns. When the big teams, when Supersport was there, when Chiefs was there, I mean, the semi-final against Chiefs back to back, that's not going to be easy. Semi-final against Sundowns, that's not going to be easy. Over the season, yes, I get it. So I value the MTN 8 because of it's the top 8 teams. And there was a point back in the day when you still had Wits Supersport where it wasn't easy. Wasn't easy at all. So I think it's still a quality trophy to get out of the way. There's still the Telkom knockout that's
Yeah.
coming soon as well. So there's enough to fill up the trophy cabinet. What we are looking for, I guess, is the consistency over the season. It's going to Magesi and not losing because Sundowns are going to put 3, 4, 5 on them, and then you go there and get a draw. There's a bogey teams that you cannot when you're fatigued. A cup tournament, you can maybe say it's just a cup tournament. We're here now, but you have to be consistent over the season.
No, 100%. It's just, of course, just to boost the morale of our players as well. I mean, some of them, it's their first times ever winning a trophy per se. You know, for me,
Not
it's
some of
just
these
like,
guys. Some of these guys have won it 4 times in a row. Some of the guys
yeah,
in the side
hundred
have won
percent,
it
yeah,
4 times.
4 times. And then there are those that it's like their first time ever winning. You know, like Abo Sipombu. Did Mbule win it before? With
Must have
Super
won it
Sport,
before.
what Sundowns, nah? Or Super
Yeah,
Sport.
maybe
He
one
must have
of
won it
the
before.
clubs, maybe Supersport or something.
Yeah. But as well, 10 bars also a lot of money, guys. That's yeah, prize money, solid prize money. You
But
know,
yeah, it's it's
for
Ah,
it's
no,
not
for our
90 that
given.
Sundowns
we're a big
made.
club. We're a big club.
Yeah,
We don't play for prize money. We play for trophies.
yeah.
Yeah, it's not the 90 million that Sundowns
Modise,
made.
I miss you right now because it looks like I've stepped into. I didn't realize ukuthi part
Your
yamabhakabhaka
tears,
la.
Your
No,
tears.
singa
you
change
Modise
screen
and
in
CJ,
tears.
your
Yeah.
tears. Now I'm a tears walk boy.
Sanibona mafethu. Apologies,
Mina
apologies for being
maqedile ama-tears wakho azabomvu.
apologies for being late, and I think everyone is gonna think ukuthi I was late because I wanted to skip the congratulating of Ibagabaga on
Yeah.
unprecedented, as they put it, fourth win. Congrats, well played. You deserved it. I think the minute we went extra time, yeah, you guys, yeah, you just upped it a notch. It showed that the difference in quality still is where we're present, but I think you guys just showed that extra level. Congratulations, and Iphelele up. There's nothing more I can
Yeah.
say about it. Don't tell me about your 19-year-old who's 24 captain lifting a trophy. I'm not gonna go there. I'm just I'm glad
Chelsea
Cheese
needs
has
a
decided.
center back. Dog. Chelsea needs a center back. Dog.
Nah, I think
I, I, I just
his
I just want to say something, CJ, that you just
Yeah.
mentioned now.
Mm,
Um, and with this new, 20 minutes extra time that we're finding some of these league games,
mm.
um, and we've seen Liverpool do it a few games now. You almost cannot play a 90-minute game. 90 minutes
Yeah.
no longer exists anymore. You
nah, but I
literally
think
need to be paying 100 and
there's
110.
yeah, I think these European teams are showing that in that you look at what they speak on squad depth. I think a lot of people are like, nah, you're hogging talent, you're not. You never know
Mm,
what the season is going to hold. So you go
mm,
with the notion that you are the worst of the worst is going to happen. Whether be it a cup
mm,
final where you're going to look at your bench and say, you come and they make a difference. I mean, like the Super
mm,
Sub goes back in the day where I don't know if you guys remember the Pirates player. I just forgot his name now. Maybe Mr. Super Sub. He didn't start the game, but with Lali Benchin, and when the team needed him, he came through,
mm.
delivered 1 2 Nyana goals. But yeah, it's one of those, and I foresee a lot of problems with these lean squads that some of these teams will get to those teams who they are. You can't afford to have a lean squad. I get it in that you've got PSR, you've got this and that, but at some point, squad depth is very important. It plays a
Is it can it not
major role.
can it not be a thing of, for example, I have a 25-man squad and I've got 4 youngsters that I can rely on? Because I think if you look at, and I'm just using them as time has gone by when I think of like City, because a lot of them have come through. When you talk about Rico Lewis, I think Matheus Nunes, Phil Foden, when they were youngsters, they were not part of the squad. So it's one of those, I back some of these youngsters It happened with Chelsea when they brought all those youngsters through. So if I don't have my main guy, I need to have a 21-year-old in the scheme of those lean squads. So you'll find the Brentfords, the Bournemouths, where they don't have the money, the Brightons, where they don't have the money to go out and buy like the experienced 25 man squad. They're looking at the academy and saying, "There's lighties there. We have to keep an eye on these boys." And they form part of the bulkiness, but we're still lean because they're youngsters. They're 20, 21, 19, etc. etc.
The beauty of the league is not a sprint. It's like a marathon. So it tests you at different phases, and it's different things that test you at different phases. Great news. I can't remember who sent that article regarding the international break. That kills momentum. It properly kills momentum. That's a test on its own. Then there's going to be the December schedule that when it comes out, where you are going to be faced with a scenario where in a space of 10 days you are required to play 6 games. That eats into your squad.
I counter that.
Yeah.
And
then the next person will tell you that no, these players rely on muscle memory, in that all you're doing is you are repeating what you've been training for. Literally, it's just muscle memory. But at some point, it gets to you, and then you start having injuries, and then that's where you have to look at your squad. And then come January, okay, let's not even factor in EFCON, because FCON is it doesn't happen every year.
It's in December, yeah.
Yeah. Well, this time around, it's in December, and then you've got the FCON, which tests your squad. Would say, okay, cool. Is your squad where are your major players? Are they African? Are they South American? And so I'm going to speak about the EPL because I think it's the one that we watch the most. Right after that, you have the cup run, and then you have the good end of the Champions League. So I forgot to mention Champions League in the beginning, and then you've got the good end of the Champions League, where now, as a manager, you have to be you're not really conflicted, because as a top tier manager, like you'd expect that from an Arteta, where he fucked up last year, where the focus was more on like, oh shit, we did well with Champions League and whatnot, and the ask is not for you to do well in one. The ask is to go full force on whatever competition you're part of.
That's true. That is so true. Yeah.
And the thing about a cup run,
you might have a situation where if there's that one dominant team that wins the league in April, that speaks not to the quality of the team, but to the quality of the opponents. In that, because I don't like the situation that we sometimes have, or we've had, where the league is decided like 2 months before the league ends.
That's true.
No, you speak of a critical point, because there's always intervals, and the only thing that I actually disagreed with was, for example, this international break. As much as we all hate it, but I think it was good because there's like what? Sorry, ask the question again.
Good for who? It was good for who?
For Bafana, for example. Yes. So I don't literally watch England, Spain, and this when it's not important games. But what I'm saying is that you almost have a week and a half for some of your players to come back. Yes, if you've got a player that's suspended, for example, Anthony Gordon, he's still only playing at the end of the month. But if you've got Fabian Shaw, who's a week away from full fitness, he stays back at home. You can have this. Also on the inverse, you have someone that goes to Brazil, flies to Brazil, and then gets injured.
That's Chelsea.
You see. So I agree with that. And then all of a sudden now you've got your December. The nice thing about it, if you look at like Carabao Cup, that's finished at the end of Feb. When Champions League is now kicking on, where the leagues are starting to get hot now, you are now sitting in a situation where one trophy is already done. We've got 3 months to go. But it is so much football at the end of the day, because if you're playing Carabao Cup up until semi-finals or final stage, and you're playing in Champions League, you're playing every second week. Every week you're playing a game. It's weekend, midweek, weekend, midweek. And then you have a terrible international break that's coming in October, whatever it is. Then you have players that are going to go to AFCON for a month, and some of those are the biggest players in the world. Then you come back, your team needs you, because you cannot just be Mohamed Salah and say, "No, guys, I just need a bit of a break." Because Egypt
Well,
is going to want to have a big run.
you can be a circus like Onana, what he did the last time, where I think he had a major game the Friday, or was it the Friday? A major game for Man United, and then he flew to AFCON the very same after the game. So he had a horror show of a game, and then he flew right after that game,
But he
and then
didn't
he
play,
missed
didn't
his
he?
Yeah,
flight,
he didn't
and then
play.
he didn't play. So
Because
it's that whole
it's
circus.
jet lag. It doesn't work because you get jet
Thank
lag.
you. It's that circus of
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
hear
but
that,
anyway.
but don't you think maybe he was being punished? Don't you think
No, no,
maybe?
no, no,
nah,
no,
No.
no,
no.
it's jet lag,
It's jet
man.
lag. You
Yeah.
get there, they test you for jet lag, and then you don't play. He
Yeah,
was
Gents,
never
like
he was
let's
never
talk.
going to play. It doesn't
Let's
work.
yeah.
there was
So
a point where teams, European teams, like didn't really like South American players, especially when they travel. I mean, like it's 18 hours. You travel for 18 hours. You come back. You come back on what's this? You have your last game on Tuesday, and then you come back after the game. It's an 18-hour flight. You arrive the following
Mm,
day,
mm,
Wednesday morning. You're not going to arrive and then go train. So the only training window you'll have is like a
mm.
Thursday evening or afternoon, and Friday it's light
And I
work
think,
if you're playing on Saturday.
no, international.
yeah,
You only have one training day. You only
Yeah,
train one day
yeah,
because there's not enough time between training and
and
travel,
traveling.
and
Yeah,
also
mm.
Yeah.
having to get ready at the stadium.
but
So
it looks
And
like
I've
there's
some
only
actually,
one training day, literally,
yeah
because of the
sanity is
traveling. Some guys don't
prevailing.
even get to travel because if
yeah,
you get a day late, right? Because you need about 2 days properly to deal with jet lag. You need like properly 2 days.
Yeah.
So if you're not ready and the training's on Friday, then you don't train. That means that it's a toss up, a 50-50 between you and like
mm,
the medics to check if you're ready to play the game.
mm.
But at that
True.
point in time,
I've actually seen where some clubs would literally have you have all your South Americans on one. So my club has all my South Americans on one private jet, or you have all the Brazilians flying to the UK in one
Yeah,
private jet. So
yeah, yeah.
literally, it will be Cass, it will be Bruno, it will be so and so. There's a private jet. Who pays for it? I don't know. Is it oil money? Is it American money? I have no clue. But they're
Nah, they
all
do the
charter
same.
flights.
What's this? The Formula One drivers do that. So what happens is the players have taken it upon themselves, in that they have an understanding that they're an asset to the club. So what they do
Mhm,
is they like the Brazilian contingent, like in England, they get along very well. And like a
mm.
lot of people don't know that. Like, be it they play
And of
for
course, I mean,
Newcastle or whatever, they get along very well. So when it comes to
mm.
traveling, they will then chip in and fly right after the game, fly to wherever,
So
Heathrow.
you'd
From
have
Heathrow,
Cass,
they will
Bruno,
then, yeah,
Gable
then from
Jesus, all of them
Heathrow
is like
then go to
gents.
the
Yeah.
different clubs.
Yeah. But
Okay.
also another thing, guys, I mean, you guys, of course, are viewing it from a perspective of the Premier League. I mean, if you're playing for the Bundesliga, dog, there's not a lot of fixtures in comparison to the Premier League. If you're
Yeah,
playing
yeah,
for the Spanish La
It's an
Liga,
extra. It's
yeah,
an extra trophy. So
yeah,
England, yes, has an extra trophy. But remember,
yeah,
if you're Dortmund, if you're Bayern, you have the
yeah,
best players in the world.
yeah.
You
No, no,
know,
no.
but
if you
but
Yeah,
remember,
but but no, United didn't have any players traveling, didn't they? Just Dogo, isn't it?
and
And Bruno
Buemo,
and
Buemo.
Bruno and Wermo. Okay.
And at the
didn't Cunha
time,
travel? Cunha was injured.
Cunha was injured. Oh, thingy, Sesko for thingy, Slovenia.
Cisco would
Yeah.
have
yeah.
played. Does De Ligt not
Yeah.
play anymore? I mean, obviously not. De Ligt won't travel far.
Nah, but
Yes,
Um,
around the
I think
corner. I can
United,
catch a train.
yeah, I
yeah.
think United are in a fortunate position, which is like now they're going to be playing one game a week.
But still, for me, it doesn't really. It
It's a
means
good.
nothing. It really
Okay,
means nothing.
let's talk about United, guys.
Should
I
we
think let's
talk
just get
about
it.
United
Yeah,
now?
just get it over and done with.
Okay. Are you
Sorry,
sure?
before I faint, I'm on
Odds,
heavily on meds. I've got
No, it's
like,
fine. Go get it out of the
yeah,
way.
get out the way. Let's
guys.
go. Look,
There's okay. I watched. Okay, everyone has documented what the issues are at United, and
yeah.
yesterday was Pep doing something that Pep doesn't do. Pep literally read through the newspapers, and the newspapers told him that, hey, listen, let these guys have the ball, and all you do is when they have the ball, cloud their middle, and that's that on counter-attack. Pep at home does not play counter-attack. And yesterday, for the first time, I saw that happening, where he allowed an opponent to come to his house and he let them have the ball. And in them leaving the ball, boom, middle, like literally crowd the middle. And then he did something very brilliant that in hindsight, I think about it, I'm like, why hasn't he done this before? What's his name? The Doku kid, the skillful guy who
Yeah,
always
Doku.
loses the ball because he doesn't have. He does this. He's temperamental. He has a one brilliant game where he'll have 4 assists, and then he has like 5 games where he has 0 output. He normally has him hug the touchline like Marius would do, where he literally sits on that line. Yesterday
And
he
maybe
didn't.
play a little bit.
He moved
Mm.
him. He moved him inside, and that confuses the f out of that 3 at the back or 5 at the back for Man United. So that's a credit to Pep in that he read his newspaper, brilliantly done. Sick, and this is now the Man United manager. I said it earlier that he is so stubborn. You'd say he's Zulu, but like that was a joke, and I don't mean to offend my Zulu people, but his stubbornness needs to be studied. He's tried something, but he's tried something over how many months has he been on the job now? 13.
Just under a year, I think.
Just under a year.
Same thing, and it's not working. And he continues on that. It's like, I'm going to die on this. He reminds me of the chick who it's like, I'm going to die for love. Even though everyone could see this train is headed for a train wreck. That middle of his, if we go back, guys, we've spoken about the middle year Man United time and time again. And the Man United don't learn. And I put it also on the players. And I'm like, you, Bruno, you know your best position is a 10. If this guy wants to put you as a defensive mid,
In the double position.
it doesn't work.
Mm.
And then because
Then
he's
they're
got
gonna bench you though. They're gonna
rather
bench you
rather
if you rebel, and then he's gonna expose you in press conferences that
Yeah,
that's the
because
other
I don't
thing.
think
That's
I
the
do
other
think
thing
this.
that I've noticed, and this is something that I've just like personally picked up
Mm.
because I watch a lot of interviews like prior to the game and like with all the different managers. He's got a weird thing with where he says, "I will sort it out." And I'm like, I don't know whether it's an imposter syndrome or maybe I'm reading too much into that, but he's got an I kind of thing in that he knows that he shouldn't be in this position of being a manager of one of the biggest clubs in the world. This is like based on supporter and he's got that he needs to prove. You look at the man before him, the Mourinho's, I almost said Ten Hag, fuck Ten Hag. Those are guys that have shit to show you that, hey, listen, I deserve to be here. And then that it comes through with his interviews where he over explains and then he chucks his players under the bus in him over explaining.
Yeah, I've never liked that. I like.
Last one before I keep quiet because I'm going to drink water is the one thing I loved Mourinho, and I've said this before. Mourinho came to England. One of the first things he said is that I'm the special one. What that does is the show or the circus that is the media is on him and not the squad. So what that does is these guys can focus on what they're doing, which is on the pitch. And everything, the noise and the theatrics and whatnot are on the manager, which I thought was brilliant. This little person, I'm not going to call him something else, he's very quick. If he doesn't like you, blast you out. Like that monologue that he had yesterday after the post-match interview, where for 14 minutes he's speaking about, well, Mainu has to do better in training, and he says, yeah, sure, should go right ahead and think better about letting what's his name, Haaland come in. And I'm thinking to myself, and his players are watching this. Come on, guys.
Yeah. I think the biggest disservice that he has done, and I'm not saying that the Man United players have rebelled. Maybe those that watch, maybe those that follow might kind of have a bit of an insight on that. I think the best thing that you just said there now was the Mourinho thing. And when I think about like a guy like Eddie Howe, you'd have Eddie Howe saying, um, things have been said. I'll be honest with you. Things have been said. We've had conversations with the player, but he still shields the player. He shields the club. He shields the squad. You know, he doesn't point a finger. He doesn't, he doesn't say these players are out. He's got a squad. He wouldn't have kicked out a Rashford. And so there's a lot of things that just like, dude, what's your end game here? Because how was it at training when you've said players are going to train with the reserves? You've said this, you've said this, you said that. Eddie Howe all the while knew that Isak wanted to leave. Most likely, bid wasn't there, but he's still saying situation is not right. He's training, but he's not training with the squad. Just move them away from the squad. He's gently saying to the media, "Hey man, this guy must vibe Bozy," But then you have Amorim say, "Sometimes I want to quit. Sometimes I want to stay. Sometimes I hate my play." It's like, no, dude, you don't talk like that about your squad, because like then who do you hate? Because we remember the scandal, the boot scandal, where Fergie threw a boot. At the end of the day, that was probably the only thing that you found out that about what happened at United. And I've got a friend who talks very similar to that. Like internally, keep everything sacred. You keep everything sacred internally. How are things getting?
Yeah, there was a mythical thing called a hairdryer in the dressing room where you got the hairdryer, but it was a mythical thing. No one knew that it existed. With your boy now, like literally
when people say like,
everything.
oh, it's like, what did the gaffer say at halftime? Then you're sitting there and then people's like, no, he just said go out there, but you're not sitting there. And I mean, but All or Nothing, for example, when you watch All or Nothing, maybe that gives you an insight into what is happening in the teams, because I mean, maybe we're at that world where we want to see everything, right? But there's certain things that should be kept sacred, and certain things why managers are media trained, and sometimes why I get frustrated with certain managers. Why I get frustrated with like a guy like Eddie Howe, because he's very calculated about what he says, and reporters will ask him the same questions, like asked and answered. I'm not going to answer that. But it almost feels like you can bait Amorim into saying anything. That's the thing about it. It almost feels like, so dude, someone says to have your nudes, and it's like, yeah, Rashford has my nudes. It feels like he's willing to just say anything, as opposed to just having a bit of tact, protecting the squad. That's how and I think it's probably an overarching, how do I put it, dissatisfaction with the whole squad. I don't have the right players, dude. You get Man United, you've got some of the world's best players.
My thing is that, I just wanted to just jump in, man. Of course, I've said in the past, from since last season, I've voiced my opinion as to how I feel about the manager, right? But at the same time, man, I then look at teams like Real Madrid. I mean, Real Madrid had Xabi Alonso, who played a similar system to Amorim, right? He played three at the back as well. And at the Club World Cup, that formation wasn't working at all. We all saw that Madrid was struggling, And then what he did is that at the beginning of La Liga, he changed it. He changed his formation, and look at Real Madrid right now. They're on top of the league. They sit at the top with 9 points, and the first three games they've been playing very well. And it just shows you that at times we like to, especially United fans, we tend to want to die on that hill of supporting something where you can clearly see that this manager is just stuck on his principles and his plan A. And his plan A isn't helping any player out. I mean, I don't think there's any player yesterday who did well for Man United. I know Luke Shaw made his mistakes. But dude, it wasn't okay, fine. But that's not, but for me, I've seen Mbeumo play better than yesterday, in my opinion. I mean,
no, but he was the better of the lot.
Yeah, but that's still, you see, for the mere fact that we haven't seen the Mbeumo from Brentford or someone who's improved, from what he was at Brentford is concerning as a United fan.
It's not gonna happen, right? You know what United
I,
players
I,
don't happen.
I want to
Eish.
ask a question. And I remember in Pep's first season, people was like, "This is not Barcelona. This is not Bayern Munich." And Pep said, he's not going to change his philosophy, right? What then changed? Did he get his players, or did he like what did he change? Because Pep was also adamant that he's not going to change the way he plays, and we said this is not Barcelona. You can't tiki taka here. You know, you have to play with a little bit of grit, with a little bit of bite. So what was
Yeah, but
different about that? What changed with someone also saying that he's not going to change his philosophy?
yeah, what's the description of
It's
insanity?
the,
It's doing the
it's the
same thing
formation.
over.
For me, it's the
Mm,
formation.
mm.
Yeah.
Was that formation is just not right. You know, if he at least gave them a bit more midfield solidity and added another person so that there's three people in midfield, it would make the balance a bit better.
Hundred
Like
percent.
let's have Cunha and Bemo both playing up front, or have Bemo and Cisco or whoever the striker is on the day playing up front. Then you have three guys playing in the midfield. Two of them can just sit and one person can create.
Thank
Whatever
you.
it is, I don't care. But if he wants to play that formation, he can't be playing it that way in the Premier League. There's no way.
Mm.
Like
Facts, bro.
even the best team, even if Liverpool had to play with that formation with Gravenberch and, for example, let's say Vets,
McAllister. Oh yeah.
Vets,
Yeah.
because that's basically what you say. Vets is like Fernandez, right?
Yep.
Because they're
Yeah,
creative,
true.
really creative
Mm.
like players. But if you have to play two of them in midfield alone with three centre backs, it'll be a big problem. Yes, they have Van Dijk, who's much better in terms of the quality of the defenders across Man United. But with that formation, it's just not going to work in the Premier League. Not
No,
But you
yes.
also can't have Wits playing as a 10 and then all of a sudden then drop him down to 8 or 6.
It's now the
Mhm.
six. It makes no
Yes.
sense.
It doesn't. And you see what I'm saying? It's
But this is what he
showcasing.
does with Bruno. Doesn't he do
Yeah.
this with Bruno as well?
Nothing is that it's showcasing the player's deficiencies. We all know that Bruno is not a person who's comfortable in possession. We all know that he doesn't have he's not good at picking up, at reading danger and sitting. That's not
Well, no,
in
that
him.
role,
So
that six role, it's one of
yeah,
the most important.
it's so
In as much
essential.
as you dictate the tempo, you need to have an understanding also of your defenders. Yeah, it's a very tricky role to play, and they everyone
Mm.
speaks to Guti. You must be there must be legs and whatnot. I don't. I'm not of that school that your number six needs to have legs.
I want to
Engine,
make a
sure.
perfect example as well, Singubane, after you. Just want to make a perfect example. So
Wait. What? Sorry, I lost you there.
I was saying go ahead, but I wanted to make a perfect example.
Okay.
Like everyone speaks Suguti, you must have legs. I don't think so. I think
Mm.
all you have to do is just have an understanding of the game and then your positioning, and it's that simple. I ask myself this question because I looked. Okay, I get it. Cunha is injured. Why not? And I don't know why the Adlale E433. I actually wrote it down. That's it. Okay, keeper situation, it speaks for itself because Onana is gone, so I no longer have Onana. Faga, Dalo, so far at the back. Dalo, Ilir, Euro. Sure, on a choice, but to play him, it's 2025. And I think he's over the hill now. But yeah, let's move to the middle. Wait, hold on. Move to the middle. Ati, Cass, because doesn't have, he's not the fastest. Well, he's not fast, but
He's
a
still got a
very
brain
good
in him.
understanding of the game, distribution icon. Ati
IQ, bro.
Cass, Ati Fernandez, Ati Mainu. So between
And Ugarte,
Bruno
I would
and
do Ugarte
Mainu,
actually.
no, Ugarte, I'm still, I still have a question mark around him. I'll speak on him. Ati Mainu, Ati Bruno, Ati Kes.
Cass.
Kes
Yeah.
does the sweeping. Mainu, no Bruno, they interchange. I know for a fact Bruno can apply the seniority thing. I'll be the one going more up front. You just sit here with Ukes. Mbamba is so no two, and that's it. And then up front, he can then go Sesko, Mbuemo, Okunya if he's fit, or he can then go who's that kid, that African kid? I forgot his name now.
Ahmad.
Ahmad.
Ahmad. And have Ahmad on like I don't know whether it's such
But
a
there's options.
complicated
There's
side.
Ahmad, there's Ahmad,
That's
there's Mount. So he actually
there's
has
Mount.
options.
But like at least you've got the security of Uguti. Kes doesn't really push up that much. Kes just sits here behind the four. He can only go if he knows Uguti, because the counter attack that City played on you yesterday, fucking hell.
One ball, dog. And another thing
One.
is that Ruud van Nistelrooy, you see what you just said, Ruud just did that. He just reverted to a mid block, played Cass, Ugarte, Bruno Fernandes, and we won, I think, 3 games, and we scored like 3 goals in each game, and we only conceded 1 goal. Now with this formation, we concede. We've got 5 defenders.
Think of any of the best midfielders ever in the world, the best midfield players ever, who would play in that 2 and not suffer. There's none of them. If you take out, like, if you have to buy any player in the world, if United had any player in the world and they still had Pooh, and they said, for example, they had Toni Kroos in the position that Bruno Fernandes was playing in, and he had to play in that formation, he would suffer. He would not be able to be. He would not be the Toni Kroos that we know if he had to play in that formation. And I would not blame guys like Garnacho and guys like Rashford and all those guys who are said to be troublemakers to want to leave in a team where you can see that this is not going to work.
And I feel sorry for
I
that
think
Cisco kid.
in a situation where they play the ball behind the 2 midfielders, right, and there's 3 centre backs, when is that centre mid going to get to close down behind the right wing back who's already bombed up that side? In those multiple situations where Mazraoui wasn't in position, Doku was right behind in those gaps to get in the passes. Yes, some of the passes Reinders made, and maybe Reinders missed like 3 passes. If he got any of those passes in, we're right behind them.
Yeah. And then I noticed something weird also with your wingers. They're very static and very much confused. It's almost like robotic in a way. I know that there's an ongoing joke about robots and Pep and whatnot, but as a player, there are certain basics that you need to have an understanding for, and I think he is beating those understanding out of these players, where you get grown men being very confused where they should be in the field of play. Because the third goal that Haaland gets, the Man United players are standing in line, 3 defenders. I don't know if you still have that picture that I shared, where I said that justice for United. They're standing in a line, like the field is like, this is the halfway mark. Bonabani line saw 3 players. I'm looking at it and I'm like thinking, and this was a result of 1 player that couldn't. There we go. Yeah, to pray for you now. Like this play was a result of Uluksho not being able to trap the ball in the middle of the park. Because there's a rule, Uguti can't trap, can play. It's an old rule, which is very true. Because your first touch determines one of many things. It buys you time, or it puts you under pressure. So when your under 13 coach tells you Uguti can't trap, can play, they were talking about this. Luke Shaw, who's on a 200K a week, can't trap the ball. And look, he's got 3 of his teammates around him.
Yeah,
3.
I mean, all of this can be said, like, but still, Man City isn't like. This is just a clear indication of where Man United are, right? Because this Man City team is really poor. Like, it's a really poor Man City team. Like, we're not playing well. It's just not clicking. And there's moments, like, there's far too many moments that you have to search for in the game to find the good things that Man City have done. And all of those things that we've done led to a goal. All the other things were mistakes from Man United and created chances we might not have scored them. But we're going to play Arsenal in a few weeks and we're going to lose to Arsenal. We're not going to beat Arsenal. The current Man City team, the way we're playing, is not strong enough to beat any of the strong teams.
Nah, but I think the one thing you did right
That's
there.
a big call. That's a very big call. I
No,
know
no,
people are saying
I
this is not
yeah.
playing, but that's a very, very big call because I also think that could start in that time is going to start shaping who's where. Is City still out of it, or are Arsenal now the real deal, or this was a City blip, and they're going to start chasing whoever's on top down a lot earlier. So it is a make or break, and obviously I think as weeks go by, we'll definitely discuss it just to see who's sitting where. But like,
Pep,
I'm not 100% convinced. I like Arsenal, not 100% convinced that they are it, because I don't think Arteta is the guy. I think he's got a good squad. I really like his squad, and my father's an Arsenal supporter, and we spoke about it, at length even. I just don't feel that Arteta can push them over that edge. I don't think he's angry enough to say, guys,
yeah.
like,
I think the one
wake
thing
the hell up.
Pep did well yesterday is that he understood the opponent. And Pep had a thing where he beats his team into thinking into having the opponent play against his style. I don't know if that makes sense. Sorry, I'm coming down with the flu. He wants the opponent to, before the game starts, he's already beaten you because you fear that they can do this tiki-taka thing and whatnot and whatnot. But yesterday, for the first time, I saw him in a very long time getting away from possessional to being like, it's fine, have the ball, let's see what you do with it. And
That
the
wasn't the
other
case.
thing, before
Man.
I
That
forget, the
wasn't
other
the
thing that he
case.
did that is anti-Pep is that they scored 3 goals and but relax, almost like
You
thinking about
didn't.
the
No, man, I didn't. Look, so United had the ball because City were bad on the ball.
nah.
We,
Did they
we were
allow them to
not
have it?
we were not good on the ball, right? Because the same thing with United. The difference was that we were punishing United from the mistakes. If you look at the stats
Yeah.
yesterday, it wasn't that we were giving them position. We found ourselves in situations many times in the league. Did you realize that Pep played a back five at the last 15 minutes? We played with a back five. Did you see
Yeah,
that?
Umbuemo
He
missed that
understands
sitter.
now.
Well, it's not a
He
sitter, but he
understands
missed that
now
one.
that we can't use the ball anymore as our defensive strength, which was always the case before for Man City. City keeping the ball wasn't because we were trying to tiki taka. It's because we were so bad in defending that if you give the opponent the ball and we found ourselves out of position, they're always going to score. And Brighton lost this weekend again, as expected. I mean, I'm willing to bet that the only win that Brighton's going to get until the end of maybe mid-December
Is
is
against
going to be
City.
against Man City. And there's going to be a lot of teams that have that same situation because we just we just don't do the basic things right. I'm glad some of the guys that are injured because it means that Pep has to work with the players that we currently have to get whatever he's trying to get it right. I think the
When you
problem with Pep is too many opportunities, too many players, and then he just realizes and he thinks too much and then he's just out. There's no reason why we're playing Bernardo Silva when we have Nico Gonzalez who we bought for 60 million. He needs to start playing in those games. I
I,
mean,
I think
I
yeah,
think
Pep is
Champions
the
League.
overthinker.
Yeah,
yeah.
no. He's a genius, and geniuses have their way, and you just allow him. Like a manager like Pep, you let him get away with shit. I'm sorry to say. I know a lot of these guys that are saying Pep has lost it and whatnot. Pep is, for me, is one of those managers where he's allowed to get away with. He's got more than enough credit in his bank to get away with things, and
Yeah.
I don't support Man City, but yeah, that man is a genius.
And
That's
just
what I'm
wanted to
saying.
check.
I mean,
Oh yeah, sorry. I just wanted to check. Cheese, you play Napoli in the Champions League, nah?
Mm.
I'm
Hey,
gonna
hey,
lose.
see
I'm
that
gonna lose.
fixture, bro. I was watching them when they won 3-0. Hey, Conte, man. And what's crazy is that he's not even using any wingers in Serie A.
Funny
And
thing,
he's cooking with
and
this
Hoyland scored.
4-1.
Yeah, Hoyland
Yeah, and,
scored.
and his formation, he's playing a 4-1-4-1. Because Laportka can cover ground, which is another DM who's underrated
you
as
just
Man,
well.
so
reminded me
good
of
in the
something.
ball.
He's
You
so
just
good,
reminded
bro.
you
Yeah,
reminded me of something. Conte
yeah.
comes to Chelsea. First 2 games decides to play this this formation ga Emran, where he was playing 3 at the back, 4 in the middle and whatnot, and then when you defend, it's 5 and whatnot. And he got it. Like the first 3 games, and there were threats of him leaving in the first 3 games. The next game, he then defaulted to the 4 at the back and whatnot. Can you see the difference in like a top tier manager in that he has an understanding? You guys call it he's adaptable, but he can see that, okay, this is not working.
I think it was the opposite for Conte. Didn't he start with the
Yeah.
4, then he went to the 3?
No, it was the opposite. It was the opposite because
Yeah.
Alonso and
He was
Moses
losing,
were there.
He was
Yeah.
losing,
Like,
then he went
Yeah,
to
Yes.
because who would have thought Moses was gonna be instrumental in that?
And then
season?
he went and he
Yeah.
won the league.
Yeah,
Mm.
and you guys were smacking teams, bruh. Yo, you guys were
Was there with
destroying
right?
teams.
Says Matic.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's this.
Yes.
Sis Matic. Then he had what again? Of course, Hazard, Diego Costa.
Who's the other boy that
Kante
the
wasn't
Spanish
there.
number 10? You
Who?
had you taken him by then?
Kante wasn't there yet.
No, I think Kante was there, bruh.
He was
Yeah,
there.
Kante
Kante.
wasn't
Yeah,
there.
Kante won the title with Chelsea when
He
Kante
was
was
there
there.
with Kante.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
it's okay.
yeah.
With
And
That
Drinkwater.
midfield was perfectly balanced, dude, because
perfectly
Messi
balanced.
and Kante are doing all of the dirty work, and Kante is just box to box, and then they have Cesc. Cesc was
Passing.
good.
Passes.
No, you
like
know who says
Can,
that.
Diego Costa.
can I ask?
Yeah.
Can I
Costa,
ask
you
the
just give
question?
him a chance.
There we have Hoyland. We can call the league whatever you want to call the league. Hoyland's already scored.
Yeah, it's because Conte
De
knows
Bruyne
how.
is assisting
Yep.
like he's a call center agent. He's just assist. He's just helping
Yeah.
it out. McSauce has not stopped his form since he left United.
Yeah. And then
So,
there's also
I mean,
Anguissa as well, who's
yeah,
also
if you
another
have a
guy.
good season from Hoyland, what happens?
Yeah.
Good season from
No.
Hoyland, what happens? Does he stay in Italy because United's not his level? Does he come back to try and show something?
But
What
guys, you
happens?
see, one thing I can tell you about Napoli, guys, they're gonna be a very tough team to beat in the Champions League. Napoli are very defensive. It's hard scoring against these guys, bro. If you get a goal against them, it's yeah, you've worked, bro. You'll see. It's gonna be tough. I know Conte is not really good in the Champions League, which is strange. He tends to do well in winning league titles, but when it comes to Champions League, hey, I don't know what's going
Maybe
on.
he's not a
But
sprint man. Maybe he's a marathon man. Maybe he's a
yeah,
planner where he says, like, I'm
Tough
not
for
going to sprint this.
Tough for a bit difficult, and I'm gonna say that I probably believe that Napoli will probably struggle a bit. I think the tempo of the Champions League, especially because they haven't played in what 2 seasons now. This is they haven't played in 2 seasons. They didn't play last season and the season before that, if I'm not mistaken. So
they didn't, yeah.
that's gonna be a big tempo change for them in terms of those games, because I think last season the detriment of Inter was that they were playing big games in Champions League, and coming back to play again in the league was coming back with fatigue and all of those issues. So this season it's them now. They're in the same situation, and everyone's gonna suffer. And if you don't have a big squad, and I think that's why they got a lot of these guys into the team this year, is to have a big squad because they know the demands of the Champions League. You're not gonna
And
speak
have the
about
experience.
we're not going to speak about our friends Abu Trishul and Abu Lamek, because the only thing they have is the league. And this is going to be a clear indication now in terms of where Amorim is, because he has no distractions. He's out early in a cup, he's nowhere, and now he just needs to find a way. He just needs to find a way to get his team to win. It's crazy
Kanye
because
West.
he still hasn't won a back-to-back game since he's arrived.
Yeah, Kanye West
That poor boy
said,
is literally.
yeah, Kanye West once said, Uguti, boredom is the devil's new playground. And I think that's what's going to happen at Man United. The lack of action midweek is going to fuck them over big time, because there's certain players that demand to play, and this one a week by December means how many weeks are left. So when are you just playing Saturday, Sunday, Saturday, Sunday, and it's going to catch up with them. The other teams, what I was speaking on, the muscle memory of you play Wednesday, like a big game, come Sunday. All it is you in tune. You have an understanding that if I'm in the middle and I have the ball, whomever needs to be bombing that side. You can just pass the ball and know very well that they're going to be there. With United and this one game a week, getting into that swing of things and being on tune from the word go, that's the other question mark that they're going to have.
Is, is it true that they trying to schedule themselves midweek friendlies? Apparently, they trying to
Yeah.
schedule themselves midweek
I
friendlies
wouldn't I
just
wouldn't blame them. I honestly
against you.
wouldn't. Yeah, and then they pick up injuries from there, and then everyone laughs at them. But they're trying something.
We're trying to
That
make
means
money, bro.
no. I wouldn't think it will be a monetary
I'm
thing. I think
7
it'll
million. I'm
It
7
is.
million. They go.
Remember,
Yeah.
United use the broadcasting rights and the ticket rights from all the games that they don't play. So you might
Yeah.
as well go create a Makufe Cup somewhere. Go play Makufe there. Win Makufe.
It's
Come
now
here.
known as a Toyota Cup. Put some respect on it.
Now
Uh,
next
I
season,
even know the name change, dog.
next
I didn't
season,
even
next
know.
season, you convince Suzuki to do it. Suzuki Cup. Next season you change. Kanjalo kanjalo until
Nah, but
Chiefs finds a real trophy.
nah. Emin is. I
I
don't know
think the
when he
one
is
game a
going.
week,
I don't know
guys,
when
the
he's
one
going.
game a week has benefit a lot of teams. Sorry, you don't know where he's going.
Nah, I don't think one game a week benefits teams. I think we were fortunate last season when we had that stupid cup
Conferences.
run. Yeah, that
Conference.
one. That helped us in that the squad is not that well. The squad was big, but what it did is it allowed us to split the squad and say, okay, you guys focus here, you guys focus there. So no one was bored. And with United, that's going to happen.
I know we're gonna
They
have
don't have a big squad.
Makufe.
They don't have a big squad.
We're gonna have Makufe on the side. We're gonna
No, but
create our
United
own.
doesn't have a big squad. They can't. They can't. Even if they did qualify for any other cup, they wouldn't be able to do the swapping because you rest players if you're winning games. You're not winning games. You bring on guys that are
That
lose as well.
what a
So what's
powerful
the point?
point.
Yeah, very powerful
I
point.
think I've never actually like I never thought about it like that
Mm.
because Chelsea were fortunate enough that they went on the cup run and the youngsters that were playing or the squad that was playing was
We're
hungry
winning.
and was still winning.
Mm.
Then
Yep.
on the weekend it might take a bit, but at the end of the day there were still results.
Mm.
Amorim
No,
needs to make
and
sure that
yeah.
Sesko gets goals, Burma gets goals, Cunha gets goals. So even if you were, so he doesn't have, yeah. I mean, they've got 34 games left. Do you see Sesko scoring 20 goals in those games? I don't
I,
know.
I, I was speaking like now. I remember, I feel sorry for that kid. Normally Man United players, it's a good banter and whatnot. He's coming into a very it's like that number
Terrible
nine.
situation.
It's that number nine for Chelsea, where like if you wear that
Mm,
number nine jersey, something bad always happens. But this
mm.
kid has come into a situation where there's major money or major investment that was made on a player, and the player didn't cut it, so they sold him. Now he comes in. Sure, fine. He's got self-belief in that he can do the job and whatnot, and we know he's got goals in him. But supply ayikho. Like there is like zero supply, and everyone pins it on him that oh yeah, he's played two, it's double zero 002, next is 003, but like the kid is not getting supply, and I'm like wondering, it's like, but like, come on guys, he is your conventional number nine who sits there, give him supply, something will happen. But like none of that was happening, and everyone then says, oh yeah, he disappears in games. Well, it's not like Drogba's of this world used to be like present freaking every
See,
minute.
you know,
Mm.
I
I was
think
actually saying so.
Amarim's game plan is not to have strikers scoring goals. It's to use the strikers to score goals with the two tens who are playing behind. Every single striker who goes to Man United doesn't get service. Wherever you guys sign or you get behind the strikers are the guys who will create and score goals. But it's never the number nine, which means there's
You
a
know,
flaw in the way that Man United are set up.
I was looking at it yesterday. Like since De Bruyne has left, and I know Reinders is there and there's Rodri. I was actually saying to my dad that I'm seeing, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I maybe might have misinterpreted it. Um, but it looked like Haaland was playing a lot deeper and now trying to collect. Haaland is now been probably told, don't don't sit so high up because the supply is not going to necessarily come. And on this point of like Cisco disappearing, because I used to watch games and like, oh, by the way, Haaland is playing because you forgot because Haaland was missing. So now even with the Cisco thing, I don't know, and I'm just trying. I wanted to ask, but maybe conceptualizing it as well. Maybe there's so much pressure on all front three guys is that they're selfishly now playing for themselves and not playing for the team, in the sense that they're not going to convert because I'm thinking. We're thinking it's about Cisco, like Cisco should be receiving all the supply. But you've got Mbeumo and you've got Cunha, who've got Premier League experiences, they've got a lot of Premier League goals, but they are now trying to get the duck off their back and not necessarily
Bruno is a
supply
selfish
a
player,
guy like Cisco.
and yeah, Bruno is a selfish player, and not in a bad way. The one thing that Bruno is famous for is his champagne passes, because he passes. But yesterday, I don't recall him pulling any of those, and I'm like, what's happening? And he's
No,
sitting too deep.
he did. He did. No, he did. I think he played one or two to Bruno and
Nah, but like
to.
1 or 2 is not enough for him. Hey, he's got
No,
brilliant
I
passes.
mean, in a game when you're being annihilated 3-0 and you make 2 or 3 passes, if the guys who don't score, great save by Donnarumma for the one chance, right?
Yeah, that was top
I
tier.
think, and I think there was chances where Ahmad got where he needed to punish but he didn't. I mean, you're shooting straight at the keeper. So it's not your fault if you're the creating guy. But to be fair, odds right. Haaland knows, and most of the guys who play against Man United know that the centre backs always want to press on the number 9. So if you the number 9 drag them out of position, those two at the back because they don't understand the formation, you're always going to have a chance. So
I see that.
that's always going to be a situation. So if Haaland, I think Pep understood that's the case, so he forced him to change it a bit. If you look at the game against Brighton, I don't even think there's one ball that Haaland came and collected in front because there's so many guys who are playing in front with a low block. But Man United want to play that high line, then they want a centre back who's going to keep pushing on the forward because they have too many in midfield.
That's
If the centre back doesn't do that, then they're going to be outnumbered every single time. Because the two guys in midfield,
and it's always the
the two guys
case.
in midfield we are
Jeez,
facing,
you
we
just
facing our opponents. They play the ball in front of us. We don't know what's going on behind us in a 60,000 people stadium. So
And also,
if
but
I'm a
then
nine
jeez.
and I just drop in
But
just between the two guys and the centre backs, and these guys push in, there's a pocket for my wing.
and and then as well, cheese. Why take off Euro and
Makes no
play
sense. Makes no
Maguire?
sense.
uh,
A guy who
pace,
can't run
pace.
to save his life.
That was so funny when he was chasing
You
after
see what I'm
Haaland.
saying?
It was
Yeah,
so funny.
Like,
It
he
felt
was
like he was
hoping. He
very,
was
that's
very
why
hoping
this
for a
guy needs
confident.
to
corner. He was
go,
hoping
bruh.
for a corner.
You see, this is the reason why I've wanted this guy to go all along. That substitution made
No sense.
zero
It was already
sense.
done.
No
Unfortunately,
sense. Like for like centre backs, bruh.
as I've said on the group, I
Ah,
think United are in such a precarious decision, or they find themselves in such a bad space, is that you have to give this guy at least like 2 years. Don't this Chelsea thing, 5 years, get it right.
this guy.
Like,
Change
Yeah.
his face, guys. Change
can I
his
tell
face.
you?
Let's get out
No,
of
but
here,
wait,
Change his
dog.
face,
but wait. Can I tell you why?
Get out of here,
Can I tell you
bro.
why?
This guy wants us to get relegated,
But
dog.
wait,
Like literally, just say, bro,
But
we want you to get
but wait.
you're
relegated.
moving.
Let me
You're
explain
moving
something
like a
quickly.
team that wants to get relegated. The way that you're moving right now.
We are.
Let me
It's
explain.
relegation form.
4 points from 4 games. And last season, you were lucky in that there were 3 terrible teams below you. This time
Yes, but
round,
let me
And
explain
this
something quickly.
season,
Let me explain something quickly.
hey,
I think it was at the beginning of last season, Mikel Arteta got rid of Wenger's last player. I actually can't even remember Wenger's players, but Wenger's last player finally left Arsenal at the beginning of last season, right? You've now got you had Klopp. Klopp came in and changed. If you look at Klopp's first starting lineup, you're like, yo. But if you gave the guy 2 years, you'd probably still have Daniel Sturridge there, for lack of a better example, right? Um, Chelsea, I think, messed up because there's a lot of movement, and now it looks like they're saying to Maresca, get rid and hold on to your squad, right? Arne Slot's is now been trusted with money. They're going to back him. You cannot now be in a situation where you potentially still have Mourinho players, and then you're trying to now get rid of Ten Hag players, because there's Tyrell Malacia. They brought everyone from Holland. Now he's going to bring everyone from Portugal, everyone from the from second. But now, if you get rid of Amorim and you bring in Sam Allardyce,
Glasner.
you bring in Glasner. What, you're going to give Glasner a year to get rid of Ten Hag players, and then another year to get rid of Amorim players, and then he gets his own players in, unless he automatically makes that work.
No, I think our recruitment policy is not to recruit for the manager, but to recruit for the club.
Looks like it's recruiting for the manager. But Malacia was not worth it. Anthony was not worth it.
No, Malacia was. Yeah, those guys were the prior guys. I'm talking about Ineos' tenure. I'm not talking about before Ineos. You talking about before Ineos?
Yes, but I remember there's still players that were prior to Ineos.
Yeah, 100%. They were, but like right now, what Ineos are doing is that they're recruiting for the club instead of for the manager, and that's what's happening now with these new crop of players that have been coming through these last 2 seasons. Yeah, but this thing of backing this guy, please.
Yeah, but I don't think Man United is serious for a Glasner.
We all know
you guys are not ready for a manager like Glasner. Because Glasner put his thingy. He went straight through and said, if Gay goes, I go. Like, I don't think you guys are ready for a manager who is that serious about life. You guys are fine with your vibe type of manager, your board is not ready.
And best believe, if we'd get a Glasner, dog, I'm not saying we're gonna win the league, right? However, that performance against City wouldn't be that bad under Glasner. He will ensure that we are compact. He would ensure that it's not easy for them to just play one ball through and everyone and then everything capitulates. There would be control. You take it. You basically would do the basics.
You need to know where you are.
Yeah,
like as a team, you guys need to know where you are.
That's exactly the problem with United.
It's so important that, like, you look at the Champions League, though. Teams are champions in their own country, but they know when we play against these guys, we need to be compact. Yes, I'm from South Bucharest. I'm the best team in the country, but this is a team in a better league, in a stronger whatever. We need to be compact. We need to defend, and we need to play out for a result. United go balls out every single game when they know they cannot pound for pound match with teams. And the problem with Amorim and his swashbuckling football is that the stats give him a false realization of where his team is. He goes into his meetings like, the stats show that we have a lot of attacks and all. Yes, you have a lot of attacks because you swashbuckling, you're exposing the rest of your team at the back, and that's why you're losing games. Doesn't help that you have
and unfortunately
+7 XG and you're only scoring 1 goal in a game, but you're conceding 6 or you're conceding 3 every single game. That means there's a flaw in the way you play.
And unfortunately, like, there's not enough trophies to go around, and we discussed this pre-season. There's not enough trophies to go around, and even in the Premier League, already now, if you're going to be 15 points behind Liverpool at this stage in the season, or whatever, 4 games, 8 points behind Liverpool at this stage, when you haven't even played them, where there is a clear top 4, clear top 6, and all that top 6 is playing in Europe, and then there's the new guys that are coming, the new teams that are coming through, Abu Glasner and whatnot. Brighton's always going to be there and thereabouts. You have to hit the ground running. So there is no excuse. But at the end of the day, all we've said is basically a good season for Man United is top 10. That is absolutely terrible in the past 30 years. But you're no longer there, we get it. But one of the biggest teams in the world, hoping for top 10, where there's teams that are actually performing, that are saying, we are in top 6. Where do you find yourself in all of this? Because United cannot continue to be there and thereabouts. They need to be up there with City, Arsenal, and Liverpool. But there's also Chelsea. There's also Newcastle who are going to get unlocked. Spurs have got a good manager. There's also Spurs have got a good manager. So
And
we were also just hoping, can we get sixth? Can we get sixth, for example? But at the end of the day,
but you guys have a good manager though.
Mm.
Art. That's the difference between Man United and Newcastle United. It's that you guys have a very good manager, bro. And look how he was using Nikola Jokic. I call him that because he's built like a basketball player. Like homeboy already fits in like a glove. And best believe if you guys had Sesko would also do the same because of how you guys are set up. He wouldn't be struggling the way he's struggling right now. So for me, I always cry about the coaching side of things. It's like Omar Barada, of course, is the CEO, and he decided to jump the gun and make the selection. He pulled a Ed Woodward instead of waiting for us to get a director of football. You know, Wilcox right now, of course, he has to now work with someone. I don't even think Wilcox rates how Amorim plays because Wilcox was at City, and the way City play and way Man United play, or even how Southampton played, because after moving from City, he went to the Southampton, and Abo Romeo Lavia were playing there. The way that Southampton team plays, and you look at how United play, it's not the same way, dog. So yeah, man, for me, odds, yeah, man. I just think we need to get a new manager. Personally, we get a new manager, and then at least this manager will ensure that we don't concede the amount of goals that we are conceding. Because right now it's ridiculous, bro. We are like on -3 already. Dog. It's bad
She was listening. Don't do that.
already. Yeah, no, it's the truth though, because he's gonna post it in the group anyway. So
You guys are
it's
always
fine.
negative
But
goalkeepers, bro.
like we need to take
I
it
don't know
back to
how
the
many
basics.
seasons.
Because I feel like Ruud van Nistelrooy took it back to the basics. He didn't do anything out of the ordinary, bruh. He just took it back to the basics, and we scored 9 goals and conceded 1 in his 3 games, and then he left. And now, manje, we are, bro, we're now conceding. What's funny,
I'm
dog?
that's
laughing at
true.
you, man. Like you just so worked up, though.
No, but like she's like as you use it to talk, like I feel like just going back to the basics is the first step. Then you build from that, just take it back to the
Yes,
basics.
start
That's all I
winning,
ask for.
start
Same
winning games,
same thing with
start, yeah,
remember
confidence.
even when Ten Hag came in his first season, first 2 games we lost by 4 by 4. I think Brentford piped us 4-1, and then there's another team that destroyed us. Then he's like, okay, this thing of me trying to play this high pressing game isn't working. Let me just revert back to a mid block. And then we started winning games, and we didn't concede goals, and to a point where David De Gea won the Golden Glove that season. We also won the Carabao Cup, and we finished in the top 4. But like I was like, this guy just took it back to the basics, and then he destroyed it again by trying to implement his style again. And then, and then even this, bought a goalkeeper for the future. Like this goalkeeper that we bought, bruh, like you saw by ending, but to Sasuga from the get-go, the guy, bruh, looked very clumsy, So for me, why is he persisting with this guy as well? Where we bought a new keeper. Why can't he just start this goalkeeper? Because already
What did
ended.
he do? What did
And you saw what
What did Friday do?
Did you see? There was that before you guys scored your first goal. There's a point where, bruh, hey, dude, he just didn't have any control over the ball. I think it wasn't playing back from the back, but I don't know what he did. He like fumbled the ball. He just showed that man. Maybe it's the nerves, I don't know what, bruh. I was like, like this goalkeeper, bruh. Why can't he just try out this new kid?
and you
bro?
try him out and you play
And then
him and you just go with it.
100%. Look at City. They played Donnarumma. You saw his save against Mbuemo. That was a world-class save, dog. World-class. Because
For me,
Mbuemo
the
did
most thing
everything
I was
right.
happy about was how he dealt with the balls in the box because we suck.
Yeah.
He was such a huge.
There's a bit of
I don't even
assurance
know.
now. And you see, it builds
Yeah,
like
there's
that.
assurance.
When you trust the goalkeeper, you trust your 2 center backs. I was talking yesterday and I said, where are these teams and their spines now? Because a lot of teams, I mean, you don't know where the spine is anymore. Back in the day, when people were going invincible, when it was Fabian Barthez, when it was Van der Sar, when it was
But
Jens Lehmann.
Barthez was shaky.
Okay,
Let's be
I'll
honest.
use you could
Barthez, he was fortunate that the guys in front of him were dope,
yes,
but he was shaky.
but those spines, I remember Chelsea's spine when it was Chick,
Yeah.
it was Terry, it was Carvalho, it was Essie and Lampard, Drogba. You could go through the generations. You say Alisson, you could say Alisson, you could say Van Dijk, you say Salah, or not even Salah, say let's say Firmino, and then obviously the midfield was a little fluid in terms of how they played with the three. You can see with City, it was Rodri, not in Rodri, it was you had Company, you had someone in front of you, had Yaya Touré. There were spines you could know. You literally said these 4 or 5 players are going to start, and it's going to be a damn hard game. Now you look at United, you're like, yo, the spine keeps changing depending on who is playing because either Fernandez plays up there, then he plays, but there's nothing there. Then it's either Euro or it's De Ligt, and even then we don't even know. The goalkeeper situation is terrible. We're not trusting the striker. You just like there is no plan. There's no plan with who I am building my team around because whoever I'm just chopping and changing, and there's nothing solid. When the days of spines in a football team, even though it's 4-4-2, that was when football was. That's when you could say that these teams are winning.
This keeper struggles. That means the problems with the coaching. Because all the keepers can't struggle under the same coach.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do now? Who's gonna buy
They
next?
can't.
Couture. They're gonna go buy Couture.
Yeah.
Because now
Exactly.
that's the only thing that's
Cheese,
left.
yeah.
Now, if you guys are struggling with keepers like this, that means you have to go buy Couture or you have to go buy like someone really big.
Like all black,
Yep.
like someone who's established. And I'm with you, Cheese. Mfethu, like everyone looks bad, dog. That's
There's
my
something wrong.
thing.
Like whenever you watch United
Everyone.
keepers, like it doesn't give you that confidence that you have this big guy
Nothing
who's
at
going
all.
to like even with the defense, like you look at the defense, like but yeah, and it all starts with the way the team is set up. It's just a big
Yeah.
problem.
100%, especially when we lose the ball. Mfethu. When we lose the ball, we are so open. There's no defensive shape. You look at like Palace for one. Like Palace under Glasner, you can see that what's happening with them is that that they are not going to concede goals, a lot of goals. I mean, they even drew. It was a goalless draw against, I forgot who. It was a Sunderland, if I'm not mistaken. But like the way defensively that team is set up, man, you're like, yo, like those are basics. It's nothing out of the ordinary. It's just basics. They just set up to know how to defend off the ball. And when they're on the ball, they're very comfortable and they're doing the basic things. They're not overcomplicating everything.
Yeah.
And so for me, when I look at my team, it's like the polar opposite. You don't know what's going on, and it's frustrating. I've even reached a point where like I've stopped caring now, like really, because I know I expect either a loss or a draw. I don't ever go into matches thinking we're gonna win, bro. Even when we play Sunderland, I think Sunderland might even put 4 past us because these teams that got promoted are strong. You saw Burnley. Burnley lost 1-0 against Liverpool. They nullified Liverpool for the majority of the game. It's that, bruh. So
Yeah, you guys
hey,
needed a penalty. You guys
United,
needed a penalty to beat them.
but you'd still score 3 goals anyway because we concede. Jeez, but we don't know how to hold on to leads. We concede so many goals. It's even the goal of the month was Brandon Boemo because the other one was our own goal. Come on, dog. Like, come on, guys. That's our reality, dog. And I admit, yeah. Hey guys, I think we should call it. Hey,
Man.
8 hour and 14. Thank you so much, once again for availing yourselves, Cheese. Yeah, you said you're gonna invite someone, Cheese. Who
He's told me about his what assignment, so yeah. But next time, I'll
Oh
definitely
yeah,
invite
yeah.
him.
Yeah, now next time. I don't know stress. No
No, guys,
stress,
it
no
was a
stress,
power
no
show.
stress.
We
Thank you
started
so
it
much.
strong. We ended it strong. Power show.
Always. Yeah. Guys, please like, comment, share, subscribe to the channel, help a brother out. This is Easy Sports, and we out.
Nice,
Cheers.
nice,